Nocterra issue number 9 from Image Comics. So in the last issue, we had Val trying to track down Bill, and eventually she found him, and they set up a uneasy alliance. They're basically going to work together to try to bring back the sun. And so we start off this issue with the flashback of Val and M drawing a family portrait with a big smiley sun. I will say that I don't care for this flashback, just in the sense that like we already know how much they miss the sun. We already know how much of a family like relationship Valve and M have. We already know that they miss their parents. Like this flashback doesn't do anything for us. If you're going to use a flashback, it should be because it's going to show us something in the future or it's going to play a part later on. Let's use an example. Let's say Star Wars A New Hope. After Luke and Han have saved Princess Leia, let's say there was a flashback where we see Luke with his aunt and uncle before they died. And, you know, he's having a dinner with them or whatever, and it's good times. That flashback is pointless. We already know that Luke misses his aunt and uncle. We already know that he was heartbroken when they died. That flashback doesn't do anything for us. But let's say they had a flashback of Obi-Wan training Luke, and he's basically has Luke blindfolded and trying to teach him to use a blaster to shoot a target using only the Force. Then okay, that flashback helps in later on when we see Luke destroying the Death Star by using only the Force. I mean, the flashback isn't needed, of course, because they didn't have it in the actual movie, but that's what I'm talking about. That's just an example. If you're going to do flashbacks this far into the story, it should be because it's going to play a part later on. So having a flashback of them missing the sun doesn't do anything because we've had them talking about how much they miss the sun for 9 issues now. Like we already know. There's no point in constantly having the same flashback over and over again. So yeah, I didn't care for that. But yeah, we cut back to the present day where we see Val and her squad in the middle of a huge shade fight, and we see Bill tied to a tree. Now at first I was kind of confused. Why are you going to take the time to tie Bill to a tree when you're in the middle of a fight? But then thinking about it, I'm thinking maybe they used him as bait. They don't say anything right now, but my guess is that they tied Bill to a tree and they hid maybe in their trucks or whatever. They waited for the shades to come, and then that's when they came out to attack the shades. Because later on we see that they're trying to lure the shades into the middle of their convoy. They basically have all their trucks pointed towards each other in a large circle, and once all the shades get in there, they hit all their head beam lights and kill the shades, and then use the corpses to make their meals, their dinner. So I'm assuming that Bill was used as bait, but we don't really know. That's just an assumption. But yeah, Val is talking to Bill about the base, about I guess it's called Luna, like the moon. And he explains that, yeah, it looks like a fallen moon. It's a big sphere of lights. And that's where folks like me, the Nocturnes, are created. We're born from the moonlight, in a sense. So yes, it's isolated military outpost. It's out in the middle of the ocean. So it's going to be heavily guarded. You're going to have to not only go through a bunch of shades, but then you're going to have to go through Nocturnes. You're going to have to go through military people, and it's out in the middle of the ocean. So it's going to be a hard place to break into. But that's the only shot that Valve and their group have to try to bring back the sun. So that's what they're going to do. And we see Bailey basically starting to give into anger. She doesn't like being around Bill, obviously. I mean, Bill did kill her grandfather. Well, he didn't actually not just kill her grandfather. He strapped her grandfather to the roof of his car, forced him to become a shade, and then set him loose to try to kill Bailey. So you can easily understand why Bailey would be pissed off at having Bill around. But they're kind of forced to have to deal with him. So yeah, this is a very Bailey heavy issue. We see it looks like she's starting to maybe possibly develop a romance with this Adam character. I'm hoping that doesn't happen. Just because I feel like the story doesn't need romance. It doesn't help the story in any way. And I'm one of those people where I always kind of don't care for romance that's kind of shoved into stories that aren't needed. I know it's funny because like I grew up, I mean, I was born in the mid 80s, grew up, I was basically a 90s kid, and a lot of like old school action movies, which I'm a huge fan of, will have like random romance subplots in there, just I guess to make it look, I guess just to prove that our main character is, a huge macho man, that he's getting the ladies and stuff. But the romance always bugged me, just in the sense that it's like I'm here to see like the cool action and guns and explosions and stuff. I don't the romance, like if it makes sense, if it's a huge part of the plot, then fine. But if it's just thrown in there, I don't know, it bugs me. I guess for me, I like my stories where like everything in the story is there to serve a purpose. So if you have something that's just kind of thrown in there just to have it thrown in there, it bugs me. So I guess we'll see where that whole subplot goes, but I'm not really a big fan of it right now. But eventually we get back to what I wanted this series to be. They step on not step on it. They ride over a landmine, and then they find out that they're being attacked by the Nocturnes. And we find out more of a rivalry between Bill and William. And basically, William was he was a criminal. He was a gang leader. The outpost kept on forcing Bill and William to participate in like fights to see, I guess, who should lead. And Bill never really cared about leading, but he doesn't want to follow other people. And so in one of these fights, he actually ripped off William's dick and forced him to eat some of it before grinding the rest into the dirt. So yeah, that's why William is so pissed off and wants to kill Bill, is because Bill ripped his dick off. So yeah, you made William a dickless shade, a dickless nocturne. So yeah, we get our Mad Max, our Twisted Metal fight with the trucks, and we see more of Bill being just the evil monster that he is. He's chained up in one of the trucks, one of the convoys. Bailey is currently driving Bill's truck, and she wanted to do that to kind of like insult Bill. Like, I'm the one who's going to be driving your beloved truck. And Bill tells her, like, all of the weapons that you have in your truck, it's not going to work against them. There is one thing that will stop them. There's a button on my truck. Push the button. And Bailey refuses, but then Val tells her, Bailey, push the button, like nothing is working. Maybe whatever Bill has in his truck will work. And all of a sudden, all these tiny humanoid shades pop out of the trunk, and they jump onto the Nocturnes. They blow up some of the cars. They scare the rest of them away. And people are, someone's wondering, like, what's up with these human shades? Why are they so small? And it turns out it's because they're kids. They're little kids. So now it's kind of like, why did Bill have little kids in the trunk of his car? Were the kids shades before Bill put them in the trunk, or did Bill turn a bunch of little kids into shades and then put them in the trunk? So, yeah, either way, it doesn't look good for Bill. But there's more. I'm not going to really show the rest of it. But yeah, basically, again, like I said, this is a Bailey heavy issue. We have more of a confrontation between Bill and Bailey. We have like a fight of philosophy. Bailey believes that once the sun comes, people are going to continue being nice to each other. Like right now, people are they're nice to each other, and she believes that will carry over once the sun comes back. Well, Bill's like, no. The reason why people are nice to each other now is because they need to be nice and they need to work with each other to survive. But once that doesn't need to be the case, people are going to go back to being monsters like they were before the Big PM. And in this world, you need to be dirty. Like you need to do whatever it takes. You need to bite, scratch, claw, whatever it takes to win, to survive. You got to do it. And so we see maybe he's trying to convert Bailey into being that. Bailey's like slowly starting to give into rage, as we see in this issue and later on and stuff. And it looks like Bill is trying to help her in that regard, like trying to help her give into her rage. Of course, she doesn't want anything to do with Bill, but part of what he's saying is starting to make sense. I will say that this issue redeemed Bill in my eyes. I did a review for the one shot where Bill, we have his origin story, and I absolutely hated it. I didn't care for it. I thought it was stupid. I thought it kind of destroyed Bill's character, like the mystique of him. I'll say this issue redeemed him. Just keep him like this. We don't need to know all about his past and stuff like that. Just give us little glimpses Like him ripping off William's dick and feeding it to him. Him getting a bunch of human shade children and keeping them locked up in his trunk to use as a weapon. Like just little things like that to show how much of a monster he is. That's what we need. We don't need to see his whole backstory. We don't need to see what he was doing in life. We don't need any of that. We just need little tiny little snippets, and we can kind of gather the rest and, you know, see how much of a monster this guy is. But yeah, I'm really liking what they did with Bill in this chapter. I'm glad to see them doing at least something with Bailey. It feels like she was just kind of tagging along, but at least now it seems we're going somewhere with her. I don't really care for the Adam character. I feel like he doesn't bring anything to the story. Maybe the point of this romance and stuff like that, or developing romance, I should say, because there's nothing actually going on right now, but it seems like there's hints towards it. Maybe it's because he's the one who's going to keep her from giving into her rage and becoming the next Bill. Maybe he's the one who's going to like keep her focused on humanity and being good and stuff like that. I guess we'll see. But yeah, good issue, and definitely a step up from the previous stuff. Like, this is what I wanted. I wanted more of this. I wanted more of the action, more of the car stuff, because I mean there was very heavy car themes in the first few issues, and then it kind of disappeared, and I'm glad to see it come back. Like, this is why I got into it in the first place, because it was like, oh, this is like Twisted Metal, Mad Max, in a horror setting. Like, sweet, awesome. And then it feels like they kind of went away from that for a while, but I'm glad to see them bringing back the car action. So yeah, that's great. Anyways, there we go. Hope you guys enjoyed the issue, and I hope to see you next time. Take care, everybody. Later. So what'd you guys think of that video? I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys haven't already, please subscribe, hit that bell for a notification, leave a like if you enjoyed the video. And if you didn't enjoy the video, thank you for watching it this far, and I hope the next video is more to your liking. Feel free to check out the playlists that you guys see, and I hope to see you guys next time. Later.